Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football, episode 43. I think we might be 43. You're back again, Cal. Nice to see you.
Indeed, thanks for having us.
David's done a runner. Last time we sat down, we done the joke intro, but he's genuinely done a runner. He's not here today. He's had a couple of poor performances in the quiz, and he's called it a day. It's a shame because you prepared us a quiz, I know.
I have had a good wee quiz, but next time I've got.
That's who he is. We'll do it then. So, we're going to do the normal. We're going to, on these Friday shows, we review the Europa League, which is becoming quite a task for people like us. And then we're going to preview the weekend. Of course, big news as well regarding the SPFL statement that came out yesterday, including clubs being docked points. Well, not docked points, that's the right phrase to use, being given points and teams. It's a farce. We'll get on to it when it comes to it, but we may as well start from the obvious, and that's last night. Let's jump right into talking about Celtic, which I love to do. It's really my favourite thing. Celtic last night, 2-0 up at the San Siro camp. We're going to lose 4-2. Before we get into any of the technicalities surrounding it and any of the major stories regarding Neil Lennon and what he's saying, what did you think of the performance itself to start us off?
I mean, soon as we went 2-0, I was baffled straight away. I had to take a second look. I was sitting watching the BT Sport, I'm also a bit behind. So I had people shouting, "Oh, it's 1-0. I'm like, no, it's not, I'm way behind. We've got the ball to the box." We got the goal, and then a few people seen Twitter saying, "Oh, they keep centre halves to blame for first goal." It's not at all. The goalkeeper should know. Somebody like Donnarumma, play the ball long. Every day of the week, don't care who you are as a keeper.
It was like they took a tip out of our book with the defensive strategy, they were just like, oh, let's see what it is.
I think Neil Leonard setting up to start. And it's like 2-0, that's your head start, no start.
It's like, I said this last night when I was talking to Kieran and boy Ryan after the game. I'm just numb at this point. Like, we went up 1-0, and I swear to God, David, who is no longer with us, David genuinely celebrated the goal more than me. He raves about Tom Rogic. He goes on about how he's the best player in Scotland. The ball hits the back of the net and he's jumping off his seat. He's just the best player in Scotland, man. And I'm sitting there with my Chinese, my knife and fork like that. Doesn't matter. Then we go up 2-0. I'm like, right, what is happening here? I'm like, what is actually happening? But yet again, no ounce of emotion. I don't know about you, but the sense of expectation with a Celtic team is that we're naturally going to throw it away, we're going to give it. There was no chance we were getting any points in that game.
I think Lille was a prime example of that. You go 2-0 up again earlier, you think, just sit in, put all 10 men behind the ball, and then just let them just keep coming at you, just absorb the pressure. But that just doesn't seem to be the story of Celtic, does it?
No, it does not.
Just continue the same game plan.
17 goals in 5 games. The group's not even done and we've conceded 17 goals. The stat goes to show, and I think I'm right in saying this, so there's 32 teams in the Champions League, there's 48 teams in the Europa League, and we have the worst defensive record out of all those teams.
I think that says a lot about on our behalf. I mean, no disrespect to Dundee, but how would they ship less goals?
I know exactly.
A team like them.
It's like, as much as I like Dundee, I like their wee story, I think they're a cute wee team. How are they conceding less goals than us? How they concede, like, how are we conceding more goals? Like 17 defensively, it's shambolic at the minute. I don't know at this point. What do we even do? What is to be fixed at this point?
Everybody could say, "Oh, he needs to be playing proper centre half, don't be playing beat on centre half." But even at that, Julian gives away the penalty at the weekend. Doesn't look the most convincing coming back. He's still coming back from an injury. Abdel Ahmed was an absolute ghost of himself last night. It's
like, I said at this point last night, it's like when you're 2-0 up at the San Siro, right? Imagine you had a manager with any form of tactical capabilities in that sort of game. If you go up 2-0 at the San Siro, surely you're setting up to park the bus, keep that, just go in to try and get those 3 points. No matter how early in the game it is, what was it, about 15 minutes in, we're up 2-0. Surely you just park the bus and get it there and done with, just drain the life out of them and avoid letting them into the final third. We're incapable of doing that. And that's even like, you see when they scored, I think it was their first goal, maybe their second goal, we had like 8 players in the box and somehow they still managed to get it in the back of the net. I'm just lost for words at this point.
You do realize, so we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, what goes on training, blah, but I think we need to just, something needs to be changed. I know we've been saying this for weeks, from crying out for a change, but there must be at least one last thing that can be done to just get into the mix.
It's like, what actually needs to happen now to like what it's embarrassment after embarrassment. There's no style in what we're doing, and as I said, as I told my video yesterday, piling on the agony, missing out on style. Like, what do we actually have to? What has to happen at this point for Peter Lille to go right?
I think his statement said a little bit bad, didn't it? Saying, we'll put our faith in Neil Lennon. Like, I'm sorry, but a manager that's, as we said a few weeks ago, his form's like a packet of Starburst.
Exactly.
That, like,
what is that? Yeah, the red, orange, green, orange, red, green, orange. The red.
That has been it.
And I think the worst part of it is I don't like the strawberry ones. So it's an awful packet of Starburst.
I prefer the blackcurrant ones.
It's a shame we can't get purple. Some of the faces are looking purple right enough. Did you see that team 40?
Oh Jesus man, I've never seen a mere group of door-faced bastards in my life. That was horrible.
What is it you said about somebody in the stickers there, their face like Play-Doh?
Oh, Mark Viduka, Jesus Christ man. Man's got a face like Play-Doh.
But John Kennedy looks as though he got a face like Play-Doh.
He's another one that face like a smacked ass. The cracking photos you'll see, I'm sure you've seen it in Twitter.
Celtic fans anyway, you've probably seen that.
Rangers fans will throw a laugh at it. And it's absolute daggers towards Neil Lennon.
It's like, at this point I feel bad for John Kennedy in the sense that, like, of course there's problems with, I think, all the coaching team at the minute. We get Gavin Stratton, we get him at Ron.
Jesus.
I mean, he just looks, he's a tramp. he's a tramp. John Kennedy's somebody I've always adored. I've always liked John Kennedy, a guy who had a lot of hardships in his career, couldn't play for a long time and ended up having to retire quite young when he was looking to be a decent player. So he comes to be a coach. He's been a really good coach under Brendan Rodgers. We heard how good a coach he was, and now a lot of people calling for him to go alongside Lennon. I feel bad for him, but he's probably as part of the issue. Now the problem I want to get into now is we're talking about goalkeepers. Barkas last night.
Oh Jesus man, like the free kick, it's his own side.
I know.
You've got your wall set up to cover that. Exactly. It's going to come to you there. Then what was it, the third goal? Oh Jesus,
he's just
runs through it. He generally falls like that. He's got no limbs. He just falls.
I feel like we'd be better with somebody.
We'd be better with Mr. Blobby and go. Put it that way. Slap Mr. Blobby in a Celtic kit. We'll do much better.
Alan Campbell's having a stroke there. Just need to fix him quick. It's like he's generally like decapitated. He's got no bloody arms, man. The question is, and a lot of people are posing it, it's funny how time changes, isn't it? Because 6 months ago, or not even 6 months ago, a few months ago, we said we would never welcome Fraser Forster back to Celtic.
I'd welcome the man back with open arms.
I'd be there at the airport to welcome him in. The Celtic have to go and make a bid for him in the January window.
Without a doubt. Even if it's a form of interest in him. So if Hampton have said they're looking to get rid of him, that gets him off the base.
He's sitting on the bench. He's fell for it again. He's a gullible bastard. He went down there genuinely expecting to break back in that team, despite how he'd been treated in the past at the club, and now they want to ship him off. Now he's number. And I mean, Alec McCarthy, we felt a really good keeper, but we need to go back for him, man. Like any, even if just any. But I think there is now, even after spending £6 million on Barkas, we need another keeper.
I'd still be saying to Stevie Woods if he fancies again. But Stevie may slap the kit on.
Big baldy chops.
Peter Check's then, isn't it?
I suppose. I forgot he's
registered.
Aye.
Stevie Woods, mate. Call up.
It's now such a horrid situation we find ourselves in, because we've got 5 games in a row now, which naturally you'd expect to take 15 points from. We'll come on to talk about the St Johnstone game when we preview the weekend's games, but I mean, I don't feel that confident taking 15 points from these games.
Even put aside the 15 points, the first game St Johnstone the last time we were up there, it took us to what, 88th, 89th, even 90th minute. Saved the day, scored, Griff and Kamala getting their goals, but will they even see a game? Griff's been left at the last 2 teams. Don't know what he's done to be left at, mind you. No word of injury or such, but
the final thing that I want to touch on with the Celtic game last night in the Europa League, because I feel like this is something a lot of people touched on. The team selection was bonkers to me. Playing Frimpong at the right wing, I hope doesn't become the norm.
As it stands, we know James Forrest. People know me, I'm not Forrest's biggest fan. He's another one I'd welcome back with open arms. Frimpong is. He is still young. He's only 19. He could still learn to be a defender, but for the time being, he's not a.
I just feel like if he plays the right way, I think he's got better defensively than what he was last season. But I'm getting the fear that if we shove him into being that right winger, the same problems are going to come than what when we have Near Beaton playing centre half. He's not a centre half. You've got players playing over the park that shouldn't be where they've been played. Frimpong for me is going to fall under Neil Lennon's curse of playing him there consistently to the point where we're just like
you're bored of seeing it.
Exactly. It's just not working. It's like improvisation, and it's done at a point.
I think it's even his final product part isn't entirely the best.
His
final ball.
See, if we had James Tavernier at right back, I swear we'd score 10 goals a game.
If
we had him at right back, we'd score 10 goals a game.
Put him in any team now, you're guaranteed 10 goals. whether it be, and I'm not having a dig at Rangers fans saying whether it be penalties or such, but his penalties are, his final product is unbelievable.
Crossing, brilliant. You know, he's got so many assists.
He was unlucky last night with set pieces.
We'll
come on to that.
We'll come on to that in a second. The other thing about the team selection, I want to end up on, a lot of people were complaining the likes of Scott Brown starting the game again, you know.
Again, it was essentially a deep rubber game. I'd like to have seen Sorrow get more game time in 20 minutes. I thought he looked alright.
He looked good in 20 minutes. This is a boy who I think is honestly going to shock us when he does get a run of games. No shock us to the point where like, oh my god, we thought he was rotten. He's certainly going to offer something different from what we've been seeing so stale for the last whatever many months it's been. And then you've got other young boys sitting around there. You've got Ewan Henderson who's sitting on the bench. You've got Patrick Lamala who's struggling to get a chance. All these young boys, why not give him a run out in games last? Yes, there is that kind of conversation you can have. You send them out, confidence gets thrown down the drain because we end up getting scalped about 5-0, but at this rate they'd probably do a better job than the team that is getting played.
As it stands, it wouldn't surprise me. Even Turnbull, I don't know if he's back yet, also with Corona and such, but even when he's back in, I'd like to see him get a good run of games under him.
He's got to, man. I've been buzzing about him coming into the team. It was just, what's he done? Like, Neil Lennon went and spent the money on him twice. Twice he spent the money on him, and yet he cannot get in the team.
He must have planted his snus or something. He'll get a game.
Planted his snus. I think that's what Lennon's missing. His snus, do you think he's gave it off? I've not seen him tune it in a good while.
That doesn't surprise me. When you look at the game at the weekend, he's sitting trying to look for his breath.
I forgot to bring that up.
Jesus, man.
Oh my god. Right, okay, Celtic has been covered in terms of the Europa League.
Fuck Gaston.
You sound like me, my channel. We're going to move on to Rangers, who last night picked up another fantastic win in Europe. They remain unbeaten in every competition. A 3-2 win over Stade Liège despite going behind twice, and now officially qualified for the last 32 of the Europa League. Wow, it's just sad, isn't it? It's not sad, like, fair play to Rangers, fair play.
It's good in terms of Rangers, good in terms of Scottish coefficients, but genuine, not even a freight train looks like stopping right now. Put my Gucci Piezo, still kind of stopping. That man's a freight train.
He's at, where is he again? We talked about it last night. Wickham had been hacking Fenway up front.
Jesus, man. Dragging a bus in your attack, is it?
The X19 and the fucking 60 up front they give her. But Goldson, Tavernier and Arfield, the ones that get on the score sheet, they're so good. They can rotate that team as much as they want in a minute, and they still manage to get it done. The players are just hitting all the high notes. You've got Ruth, Morelos both playing good. You've got Defoe who's coming in and scoring goals still. You've got a defence which is barely conceding any goals. I mean, 2 goals conceded last night was a shock. But the attitude to fight back twice and then go and get the winner as well. I mean, what even is there to say?
I don't know, but it's just been clicking. It's been that way for weeks. I just said the rotation of the team. Like I said to you before we started, watching the highlights, and then it was somebody saying Arfield's a fringe player. If he's a fringe player and he's coming in playing like that, I asked another boy about this. Well, I asked him from a Rangers fan point of view. He's not a fringe player. No. He could start week in, week out for him. The form he's in and the rotation they keep making.
He's such a player who for so long, and I think this is the same story with all the Rangers players for me. Like last season, and this is, I hate when everybody always brings up that clip of me saying, "Oh, who gets in the Celtic team?" And I'm like, McGregor or Marcus? No. Tavernier there, Frimpong? No. And I'm going through the whole team. I'm like, Barisic at a push, Barisic at a push, right? I mean, imagine the world with 2020 hindsight. We'd live in a dystopian wonderland, you know. It'd be perfect. It would be absolutely ideal. The way that these players have changed from that, because Arfield last season for me had decent moments, decent games, but he wasn't over the course of a season. I play, you'd be like, oh, he's magical. This season he has been at times. He's just been magical. That's
the script of a full team, but like, even I've heard a few people saying, "Oh, Morelos isn't in form," but even for what he's doing for not being in form, that's frightening.
I know. It's like he doesn't have to. He's changed as a player for me. That, of course, the last 3 years Rangers have relied on him to score goals, but now they can rely on him to do so much better with the ball and off the ball. His movement,
because he's changed his game up. As you've said, he's dropped him in. He's been that way. We had Edward. He drops in, takes the ball, turns, plays it off, and then makes those runs.
One thing we never actually touched on was Edward's goal last night. Cheeky finish, yeah. Cheeky
finish.
Took it well. He's just magical, isn't he?
But
no, as you were saying, you've got Morelos who's changed up his game, made himself a better player. And right now, you know, you wonder, like, look, I'm looking at Rangers' next set of games here, and I'm just looking, I'm like, come the time they play us, to me it's like, it's got to be they've got Ross County, they've got Dundee United, they've got St Mirren, they've got Motherwell, they've got St Johnstone, they've got St Mirren again, they've got Hibs. Apart from Hibs there, they could, we're talking about Celtic being a run that we should be taking 15 points. They can take that many points. I mean, granted, why the St Mirren games in the cup, but
even at that, I mean, I just said there Ross County. We can't really talk that much about Ross County.
Exactly.
After last weekend, but see, that's an easy demolition for Rangers, I'd say.
Aye. Well, they are through. They've got one more game to go. A very impressive record. Fair play to Rangers. One thing that I have not had away from on the podcast is bumming your team up. So you cannot slag me for that, I suppose. We go into the league, of course, now at the weekend, 11 points behind Rangers form, 5 wins in the last 5. I think it actually extends beyond that, but it's going to be a tough ask. So let's transition into the Premiership weekend this weekend, and we were looking at the games, Calum, and your first reaction wasn't a smile for the Premiership.
There's not many games that entice me there. I say the best game there at the weekend is probably Motherwell Hibs for me.
We'll start with that. Motherwell, actually, what we'll start with is the SPFL statement, because it regards Motherwell. COVID is something like, what is it now, the joint top scorer in the league. It's actually crazy. Kilmarnock and St Mirren disciplinary outcomes have been announced. The SPFL announced yesterday that the outcomes of the disciplinary proceedings brought in relation to Kilmarnock and St Mirren. Both sets of proceedings were brought before the subcommittee of the SPFL board sitting as a tribunal chaired by an independent senior solicitor involving a sheriff highly experienced in sports disputes. Kilmarnock breached the COVID regulations during the lead up to the league match against Motherwell. Kilmarnock admitted a number of breaches of the SPFL COVID-19 regulations. These admitted breaches involved the seating arrangements on the coach.
How the fuck have you done that, man, Beth?
Oh, God on me. It's not even that, man. But I'm rolling at my eyes. The seating arrangements on the coach. They're allowed to stand beside each other in the wall. Why are they not allowed to sit beside each other on the bus?
They're allowed to go up, shake hands, give cuddles after games.
I know. So, I'll keep going before I ask your opinion a minute, because I'll bring David's point into it, because David was very for the kind of punishment, and I'll get through his reason in a minute. And I'm just kind of on the fence. It's not really affecting us, we're Celtic fans at the end of the day. But it's saying the seating arrangements of the bus and the pre-match meal for an away game. In both cases, there was a failure to observe physical distancing by the players and staff. Additionally, St Mirren admitted failing to provide suitable facilities to enable players to observe physical distance at training, and also accepted that players had been car sharing to and from training. The tribunal imposed the following sanctions. St Mirren's league match against Motherwell, originally scheduled for the 17th of October 2020, be recorded as a 3-0 victory for Motherwell. Motherwell fans will be. I actually spoke to Goggs, he's like, oh yes. St Mirren's league match against Hamilton was a 3-0 victory for Hamilton, and a fine of £40,000 was suspended in full until 30th of June 2021, pending any other further breaches of the COVID regulations by the club. So, of course, David's point of view, and I'll give this in very quickly, David's point of view was that, look, they've breached the regulations are there for a reason, so they should be punished. It will teach teams not to do it in the future, and I do agree with that. You know what, if there has got to be a form of consistency surrounding these regulations and the punishments, then we need to start with something. For me though, the fact that the only thing that annoys me is the whole sitting beside each other on the bus. They're tested every day, they train every day, they should be allowed to sit beside each other on the bus.
There was one of the players in Europe, he done it, I can't remember who it was it Inter? Somebody in Inter's group, maybe Gladbach, he'd a big kick up because he wasn't allowed to sit next to his pal on the bus, get dropped.
I do understand that, look, we should be taking these precautions, and I think yes, the rules should be followed with the seating arrangements and that. I just think I don't know, it's a bit harsh on their part. The car sharing one I can understand, the team should be doing better to...
but even if it's one player in the front, one in the back, it's like a taxi.
True, right enough.
Like that, as long as they're not both front seat.
A lot of people bringing up the point of comparing it with the Aberdeen and Celtic situation. Why are they not being taken away points? I'll tell you very simply why they're not being taken away points, and why Celtic will not be taken away points, and why they shouldn't be taken away points. Celtic, as a football club, did not break regulations. One player on his own accord decided to, without telling anybody, fuck off to another country. That is why Celtic are being punished. The same with Aberdeen. Aberdeen didn't say, you should go to the pub, right?
You've just been beat, go and have a few pints.
No, they went out on their own accord, and they were punished. They were given suspensions, they were given fines, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. They have been punished. Bolingoli was punished. He's been punished by sitting in Turkey. But that's the reason why, very simply. I've seen a lot of people jump on that bandwagon straight away yesterday, but the points have been taken away. Motherwell now find themselves in a nice wee position in the table. But I take it you're on the side of it's probably right enough that they've been given the
I was right enough, because as you said, it's a team thing as a whole. You says like St Mirren have not put out the proper training stuff, this XYZ, that's the team as a whole. That's not certain individuals within the club. I'm not just saying it to defend Bolingoli.
I'd say it for like, look, if Morelos was to be found going to Colombia on his own accord to go and visit his family or whatever, came back and told nobody, and it was all over the front pages of the papers, I wouldn't sit here and go, Rangers should be dog free, blah blah blah, dog to win. No, because it was him that acted on his own accord.
You've done it personally.
But it's been done now. The SPFL have been giving out punishments. I'm sure the fans of the teams suffering, St Mirren and Kilmarnock, will feel slightly disgruntled, but it is what it is. So you brought up the first game to talk about, Motherwell and Hibs. We'll go there. Jack Ross, could he be the next Celtic manager?
I mean, would he want to leave that Hibs job? He's nice and cushy in there. Does he want to come to a job that's something a bit turmoil, I don't know. The place.
It's that kind of thing, like who wants to come in and probably be the guy to, no winter. Well, I think the majority of the blame has to go to Neil Lennon the ball.
But then again, as you said, it's whoever's in the seat at the end of the year, at the end of the season even. That comes in, you say, see you do bring in a like saying Eddie Howe. You won't particularly put it saying Eddie Howe lost then, but he was there. Eddie Howe,
big Eddie Howe.
He's got 3 chairs to fit him. Fuck me, man. Imagine him and Gavin Stratton. I'd throw him a bit like an empty tracky.
Idiom. He would simply eat him. No. Well, if you were to compare him to any meal, if you were to compare Gavin Stratton to a meal, what would it be?
The greasiest chippy you have ever fought.
That's a shout. Big pizza crunch, man.
He's
a big pizza crunch. And also just a chub roll. A big chub roll,
Ross McKinley for one of them.
But Motherwell and Hibs this weekend. Motherwell will be feeling confident heading in, I imagine, now that they've got the chance to kind of push up the table. If they win, they could potentially head into that top half with the motivation they'll feel after being gifted a 3-0 win. But for me, I don't know, I just see Hibs still taking it. I think they're just too good around the park. Motherwell have been far too hit and miss for me on the park, despite being awarded a 3-0 win. They're just, at the minute, very shaky looking.
Hibs are one of the few teams that I'd say they're going to push for them in Aberdeen. If Aberdeen can continue it, then
top
they'll take for easily. I'd say as it stands, with the top 4, I could see it finishing like that. But as you said, the Motherwell have been awarded 3 points. That'll have their tails up them at home as well. There's not much a home advantage without fans, but it gives you that sense.
Well, nearly, Ross County, are they still allowed fans in? I think they're still allowed the 300, aren't they?
I think so.
Did you see the video of the Emirates last night? Brought a wee tear in my eye, man.
No.
It was nice. So obviously there's London clubs, Liverpool clubs, so Liverpool and Everton, Southampton are the only ones that are allowed. I think it's 4,000 fans, and they had all the Arsenal fans basically in the one section in the Europa League game last night, and the team just went up, clapped them. I was like, we're getting there. Well, I can't wait. I don't have a back in there. But so what's your prediction? Hibs or Motherwell? You feeling a me Motherwell win on you?
I'll go 1-0 Motherwell.
I'm going for a Motherwell win.
Very defensive, I think, and just playing them in the counter. Fair enough.
St Mirren Aberdeen, it's not exactly a delightful game. I mean, you'd be thinking.
It's hardly box office, is it?
No, it is not. I feel sorry for the fans that have to pay for it. St Mirren Aberdeen, for me, simply put, Aberdeen have got to go and win this game. St Mirren, now with that.
Beat them in the cup last week, didn't they?
I suppose,
I suppose. The upset again now.
It's just when it returns to league football now, I think there'll be that element. You've got to remember that element as well. I think Aberdeen will be like, let's get it right up these,
I suppose St Mirren might have seen it as it's a one-off game, let's get into it.
Other
dropping points.
I know, Aberdeen have got to sharpen up after that. They'll know. I mean, they're on the brink of catching Celtic, for God's sake. They'll realise that. I know. Like, they are generally a win away. If they win tomorrow, because we don't play Sunday, they will join us in the same points tally. Of course, their goal difference is better, much better, but they will join us in the same points tally, which is ridiculous. But Aberdeen for me, I just can't see the path to win. I know that is obviously you brought up the point that they lost in the cup to St Mirren, but I still feel like they're just in league football. I feel like it's just going to be a completely different story.
I'd agree with that. I'd say Aberdeen won it, but obviously just because of the upset. If they fancied that again. But
I mean, if they do it again, Jim Goodwin he'll be happy. Did you hear this? I didn't know this the other day. I meant to say this to you actually. So we done our quiz the other day, and one of the questions was, and I'll ask you the question just now: which current Scottish you know what the answer's going to be anyway because we're talking about the game. But which Scottish Premiership manager nutmegged David Villa on his first game for New York City?
Let me guess. Jim Goodwin.
Jim Goodwin nutmegging David Villa.
Still kicking a ball back in.
I know. Jeez, it's mate, have you seen how he's like changed and all? Like he looked like a right ugly bastard back like in his end days, and now he's got the nice grey hair, the beard, the silver fox looking. Oh, fantastic. Right, next game to talk about in the Premiership, if I can find my games, because I've simply lost them. Livingston Dundee United. Gary Holt is gone. He's gone. The bus driver has rode away into the sunset.
Bye driver.
Bye driver. For me, Livingston are a team now who need to kind of turn their season around, and they started doing that. They won like as soon as Gary Holt left. How's that for a goodbye?
I know. I don't know. Dundee United a decent game against Hamilton last week. The week before even. But nah, Livy are probably going to go back to their old ways, especially them playing at home that Astro Park like used to.
Yeah, and Livingston are
going
to win
off their tail up.
Aye. I mean, you look at their league form; it has been horrendous. Dundee United haven't lost in the last 5, but then again, they haven't been anything spectacular.
It's not as if it's been out there flashy wins.
I've said it time and time again. I'm a big fan of Mickey Mellon. I like him. I think he comes in, he speaks well. He's set up the team nice at points, especially in the opening games of the season. And you've seen he made it difficult for Celtic as well. But I don't know. I feel like Livingston might keep going here, especially because there has been a change. I don't think they've directly appointed anybody as manager yet. I know it's what's his name, Armandale or something. I can't remember what his name is. No, that's the name of the stadium. I can't remember who's in charge of them now. Cravendale. Who's in charge? The bus driver to the milkman. I am the milkman. My milk is delicious. But I think I agree with you. I think Livingston might take us that weekend. I think they could get a win.
I fancy them for it.
Hamilton Kilmarnock. Jeez, stinker. Well, it's not really. It's actually quite interesting when you think about it, because Brian Rice is feeling the heat. Hamilton fans are not best pleased at the way they've been playing recently. Kilmarnock have been playing well recently, but of course have now been 3 points thrown away. Alex Dyer, I think, will be dying for 3 points this game, and by playing Hamilton, surely they'll get it. For me, it's a Kilmarnock win anyway.
No, I'd agree with that. I mean, I don't really see Hamilton causing much ball. I think this is finally the year that they drop.
You think this is the year they go down? I don't think we actually asked you that on your first episode, if you think they'd go down.
I hope so, man. I'm sick of watching it.
It's like the same thing with Brighton and Brighton actually play decent football, but they're just not a Premier League club, you know.
You don't associate them with the Premier League.
No, you do not at all. Ross County and Rangers and Celtic St Johnstone are the last 2 games. So we'll start at the early kick-off in Dingwall. Ross County against Rangers, please. Ross County, channel something. Do you see anything past the Rangers win at this point, Cam?
Nah.
How many goals?
I'd be favouring to stick on at least -2 or 3.
Here's a bigger question. What minute are you going for the penalty bingo? Because it seems like it's just becoming a recurring theme at this point. It was the 45th minute last night. I think they'll actually get a penalty. That's the first part. I actually think they will. I think teams now, obviously we make the joke that Rangers are just gifted penalties left, right, centre. Well, not gifted, that's a harsh term to use, but they're given penalties left, right and centre. But they are actually getting to the point now where teams are forced to give away penalties because they're so fast in the break, they get past players, they need to bring them down. Like sometimes it's just, let's not concede here, let's try and... But Tavern's got to score them every day of the week anyway, but I think it's got to the point now where they're getting penalties because they're that good on the break that teams are just trying to slow them down by any means.
I think you said it was on Twitter, it was Sharp Dow's video, and he's talking about the way they move when they're attacking. They just make it look so easy. It's like a knife through butter.
I don't know what Gerrard has channeled this season, because I've been very open in saying that I thought Gerrard has been no rotten, that's harsh to him. I don't think he's been as good as what Rangers fans have built him to be at times over the past 3 years.
Not just the last 2 years. Obviously saying a credit to him, but can I take a bit of his coaching staff as well?
But now he's just... He looks like a proper manager, the way he's got to play in the park.
Because he's got a run under him now. He even said it when he came in. It wasn't going to be a straight right, we're going to go and do this. He slowly built the team up and look what he's done with it now. It's madness.
I don't see anything for Ross County in this game. It's much easier to beat us nowadays than what it is to beat Rangers, so I think it will be the same old story. It's interesting, will Rangers kind of rotate a little bit with the fact that they've played a European game? Will they play their strongest team? Because of course the next European game doesn't really matter in terms of they are through the last 32 already, so it's not going to be the end of the world whether they win or not. Of course, I think did they have the chance to top the group?
They're top currently,
So
but with one game left, I think they'll want to try and sort it
they would like to top it, because the mad thing is, we never really spoke about this. There is a realistic chance like they could play Real Madrid if they finish second.
I spoke about it this morning. Real Madrid's group's still open. They can get Mönchengladbach, Shakhtar, Inter, or Real. That's mad.
Like they look at that whole group, and if they finish second in their Europa League group after a fantastic campaign, got to the last 32 and drew one of any of the 4 sides, I would be gutted, absolutely gutted.
Real's a glamour tie, innit?
Aye,
a big name.
But I don't know about you, I'm not a fan of these glamour ties. You know, I'm really no. I hate it. I hate the fact that, see, when we draw like PSG, people go, oh, at least we'll get to see Neymar and Mbappe.
I want to see.
I also don't want to see us get pumped 5-0, so that is my reaction. I'm like, I would like us to go through the groups. But like, that would be gutting, man, for Rangers if they ended up finishing second in that group.
I think it was like same last year against Leverkusen, especially the form Leverkusen were in, because the Bundesliga coming
Peter
back.
Peter Bush kind of revitalised them, brought something back. Nice football, and then Rangers have to go and compete with that. Granted, it didn't bring the complete spirits of Rangers fans down. A few did think they could get by them, but when you have players like Kai Havertz up against you, it's just not going to happen. And imagine they were going up against Benzema and who else is even playing for Real Madrid nowadays? Have collapsed. You got Modric and Kroos and Casemiro and Sergio Ramos and Llorente and all these players. I mean, oh god. A genuine question: how do you think Rangers would cope against Real Madrid? Do you think it would be like?
If I was him, I'd just play a sitting job the first leg.
Aye.
Was it 2 legs still?
2 legs. I think it's gone back to 2 legs. I'm sure it is.
But even if it's 1 leg, you sit in, you take your chance, don't you? Just play it.
You'd imagine it would be back to 2 legs, considering we're playing like group stages. Gone.
That's what I thought. But either side, if it's 2 legs, you sit in the full first leg, don't you?
Aye.
Just absorb it all. Take your chance away.
Aye. Right. So Rangers Ross County. Rangers win. Both of us are saying, and then finally we're going to move on to a very. Where am I? I've lost my games. There we go. Celtic St Johnstone. St Johnstone haven't lost in 10 games without losing.
Something's going right for them now. They've set up well. They're playing decent football again.
And one thing I'll bring up a bit, because David's not here, and the one thing I'll say again is, from the very start of the season, David has been a big fan of Callum Davidson and backed him to succeed at St Johnstone. I, for one, wasn't too confident. The way I looked at it was, if you didn't watch any of the early shows this season, the way I looked at it was, when you're with a manager for so long like Tommy Wright and you're playing the same football and you've got the same kind of vision and you're doing well with it for such a long time, because he was there for 7-8 years, but you're doing that for 8 years with the same manager, for someone to come in and kind of change it up, I didn't think it was going to work.
You want to put a lot more attacking football. You don't have chances.
Far more exciting now than what they were under Tommy Wright, and that's no disrespect to Tommy Wright, because he's done a marvellous job there. Brought them a Scottish Cup, got them finishing as high as, I think they were like 3rd, 4th in the league at a time as well. He was a marvellous manager, but now they're playing some decent stuff with players who are bang average. They've not really got St Johnstone, a team who haven't got many players who can go really good player. Ali McCann is like the one that stands out in mind. Apart from that, it's a team of average guys.
For me, I say a lot because the funny side to it, but Stevie May and he's
Stevie May,
in the Kiwi hole. But even at that, you put him against any other centre halves and he'll probably get Billy especially.
Exactly. I mean, we talked about El Ahmed before we came on the show. He looked so weak.
Jesus,
so weak.
He looked like a ghost of himself for what he showed at points last season.
We've got a run to start, I would say, in this game. We've got to start it now. At the same time, imagine we went and lost this game at the weekend. Actually, I'm going to bring up this point I said to you before the show. Did you see the Nice fans forcing like the team bus?
So can I leave the training ground that?
Imagine, we should be on that, man. We should be up at Lennox Town now, try and see if, and now the small man, Sky Sports, breaking news, Patrick Vieira sacked. Take notes, Celtic, take notes. Could this be the end of the line for Lennon if we do lose, or do you think it is just at the point now where they are going to keep him in charge for as long as possible?
I think they're just at the stage now, they'll just keep him, see until they have a definite replacement and line still, until they've had that interview, the talks, the contract's done, it's signed, everything's there, ready to just bring him in, he'll stay in that Celtic seat.
St Johnstone will make it tough. I know it's at Celtic Park. I would like to see players like Sora on that game. I know this game is massive, I know it's huge, because if we don't win, we fall even further behind Rangers. But still, for me, that gives us no excuse not to play guys like Sorrow, because we're not exactly playing well with our best players in the park at the minute. So what is the risk in changing
this? The thing that shows you is with Rangers, we see the early rotation.
Aye.
They can rotate their midfield free as easy as they want.
And the reason that they can do that is because they've done it so much, and these guys are having chances. If you give Sorrell chances, I guarantee you he'd be as reliable as Scott Brown in the middle of the park. And Scott Brown's not even been reliable, man. You don't know what you don't even know what you're getting with Brown. But if you give Sorrell consistent chances, or like semi-consistent chances, he will become a player that when he starts, you're not like risk there. You'll be like good. You know, and that's what you want, and that's how Rangers fans look at their midfield.
We says it, I think we even said it last night in Xbox. I'd like to see a few younger players getting a chance in the coming weeks. The games we should be winning, not guaranteed to win, but I'd like to see a bit of rotation within the squad. They've said the only rotation that's happened is formation, stun hee-haw both times. I'd like to see a few players chopping and changing. So, how confident are you of a Celtic win if you were to put in a scale for 0 to 100%? Can we go into the minus character? No, I'm kidding on. See, at this stage it's a 50-50 really for me. I don't like
because it's the same way I'm going out of the Ross County game. As much as I was walking around the Celtic Park for my video, I was doing my video before the game, and I was sitting saying I don't even expect us to beat Ross County, but when the game kicked off I was like, right, we should be winning.
You're a bit more optimistic.
And then that happened, so now I'm generally going to this game going, I don't expect anything. I don't know what to expect, to be honest. That's the Premiership done. What is it? What's happening?
Super Scoreboard was put a tweet. 9 Dundee United players have been told to self-isolate.
Oh!
Fuck them for looking let's love it one even for that.
Jesus, God almighty. We didn't expect that. 9 Dundee United players told to self-isolate as we go live. Thank you for that, Cam. That's good. I read that breaking news. That's crazy. Thank you, Gordon Duncan. Livingston Dundee United now is under risk of being called off, I'd imagine.
Just said the club are continuing their preparations, so I'd imagine.
So they're going to have to field the boys.
Imagine a few youth players will get a call up, aye.
Well, we both predicted a Livy win anyway, so we don't need to say much. Okay, breaking news there. There you go. Dundee United fans watching. Sorry here. Thoughts with you at the moment. We're 40 minutes in, so I'm going to fly through Championship League 1 and League 2. Of course, David isn't here to give us his expertise on Dunfermline this week. So I'm going to fly through the games, and I might ask you who you think will win said games, Callum. But it's a decent weekend in the Championship, to be fair. A couple of good games. David is going to be at one of them. And we'll start with that game. The Fife Derby. Raith Rovers, Dunfermline. First against third. This for me is Dunfermline's hardest game of the season thus far. I think David would agree with that statement. I don't know if he will, but I'm just going to guess he will because it looks like their toughest game this season. I'd say that's tougher than Hearts with the way that Raith are playing at the minute, because they look as much as Hearts have done better. I don't know about you, but I don't feel like Hearts have been particularly special. I still think they're a bit more
I said that
answered.
when I came on. It was also just after the Dunfermline Hearts game, the 2-1. The first half was the best they played. They didn't look like threatening much.
No, it did not. So Raith and Dunfermline, a very interesting tie to say the least. If you were to put your money on somebody, who's it going to be, Callum? I think Dunfermline will keep the form going.
I'd like to say aye, but at the same time, just says with Raith, then I fancy a draw.
You fancy a draw? I was actually going to say a draw as well. You read my mind there. I was going to say a 2-2 draw. I think there'll be goals because both teams are capable of scoring goals. You've even got players like Ewan Murray, centre half, scoring goals for Dunfermline every week. So there's going to be no lack of goals, I'd imagine. But I'm going to go 2-2. Queen of the South, Inverness win, surely. I mean, it's got to be an Inverness win. Could it be a shocker? That's actually the night.
Of course, Queen of the South at home.
I suppose they are at home. They are at home, and I think they did win their last game as well, a first win of the season. So I suppose there is a bit of motivation there for them. I don't know. It's just Inverness, team that should be pushing the top 3 this season. Queen of the South.
Imagine so. I mean, especially the team they were in recent years.
Aye, Premiership team.
Used to be a bogey team for us.
Aye, exactly. I hated that trip up to Cali. I mean, it's just a disgusting stadium to go to. No one tells me. I know it offends Inverness fans, but it's just like, the journey and all that. You don't.
It's aesthetically pleasing.
I like the way you can see it to the sea behind it. That's nice. The way, very nice. So what you going with then? I'm going to go Inverness. Are you going to go for the shot?
I'll go across it and go Queen of the South.
You're going for the shot?
I'll go for it.
Oh, he's going for the shot. It'll be an upset victory. That's the night, of course. 8:15 kick-off will be on BBC Scotland, I'd imagine. Dundee, Arbroath, that is a stinker. That is a proper stinker because both teams have been... I mean, Arbroath done well to get through the cup right enough, but Dundee have been rotten. Arbroath have not won yet this season. I don't know, man. I'm going to go for a 0-0. But I think I'm going to go for a 0-0 here.
Dundee will scrape a win, I think.
Dundee will get it.
Very narrow.
Charlie Adam goal.
Oh Jesus! Halfway line cracker like I done a few years ago.
Oh yes. Alloa and Ayr. For me, it's an Ayr win. As much as I like Peter Grant, I was about to say Peter Martin. As much as I like Peter Grant, and I do like what he's done at Alloa. For me, you can't see past an Ayr win. I mean, look at Alloa's record: 1 draw, 4 losses, 4 goals scored, 13 goals conceded. Ayr are a team who have kept up the last few years a decent run of form. So for me, Ayer's going to take the win.
And I'd agree with that. An Ayr win beat Dundee last time.
Aye.
Last week even. So
decent side. And finally, David Hopkin goes to he doesn't go anywhere. He's actually his own stadium. Greenock Morton taking on Hearts. Hearts win.
I had fancy Hearts for the win.
We Ambush swinging up at the end of the game. Hey, come on now. So that's the championship done. I'll just fly through the fixtures for League 1 and 2 because we are running short of time. So I'll just go through them very quickly, and if you think there's anything that looks interesting, Callum, feel free to tell what you think the game of the weekend will be. I'll come at you at the end anyway. So we've got Clyde taking on Forfar at is it Broadwood? Broadwood, aye. Clyde taking on Forfar. Falkirk taking on Peterhead. Partick Thistle will be playing Dumbarton. East 5 host Airdrie. And finally, Cove Rangers take on Montrose. Anything there that kind of tickles your taste buds? Nah. There's no really that good a weekend.
There probably is good games there, but again, the lower leagues I'm not.
I think the biggest one for me is probably Partick Thistle Dumbarton. Partick have now started stringing a wee bit of form together after a poor start to the season. I would go as far as saying they picked up a couple of wins in the bounce now. Dumbarton haven't been too shabby, but they've lost their last 3. Ian McCall will be determined to get the team as close to the top of the table as possible. So that's probably the most interesting game for me. But apart from that, it's just kind of like Falkirk Peterhead. It's a top against bottom team. I think if it's as straightforward as saying Falkirk should win. East Fife Airdrie, I would say Airdrie will probably win. Cove Montrose, Cove's probably got to win. Clyde Forfar, bit of a both teams at the bottom of the table. That's got its own kind of dynamic, I suppose. It makes it interesting, but there's nothing too spectacular. See, David Goodwill scored a hat-trick a couple of weeks ago.
He did indeed. And I don't think game I'd say, because you said above the bottom, Clyde Forfar.
Aye. League 2 then, finally, to end this off on the games for the weekend. Stranraer hosting Stirling Albion. Edinburgh City taking on Albion Rovers. Elgin City taking on Annan Athletic. Stenhousemuir will play Brecon. There'll be goals in that game. Poor old Brecon. And Cowdenbeath will take on Queen's Park. Brecon have conceded 20 goals this season, man. I thought it was impossible to have a worse defence than Celtic. I thought it was impossible. But once again, nothing really jumped out there. I don't think you would see anything that jumps out.
Nah, again, as I said, I'm not as clued up in the lower league. There probably is a few decent games in there.
I go off of the chance to go to Sterry and Brecon this weekend to report. Then I thought to myself, why would I want to sit in Oakview freezing my balls off watching Stenhousemuir versus Brecon? And to be honest, see if it was like April, I'd happily go. It's the fact it's December, and there's no. I've played in that stadium. I know what that stadium is like.
Been the very same.
And it's just
that's horrible.
Oh, it's terrible, man. It's like one wee tiny stand, and I doubt there's very much heating coming for anywhere.
It's because it's all open as well.
Exactly. Like they've got that one stand, then they've got a standing stand, and then it's like a car park the rest of the way down. It's tiny. But that's League 2 this weekend. If you want to go and ask David for any input for your coupons or whatever, feel free to tweet us at TSF Podcast 1. Right, Cal? To end this off, I don't know if did I ask you the question that was on the Super Scoreboard about Celtic players and Champions League winning teams?
No.
Did I not ask you? Good. That's how I'm going to end up. I'm going to see how many you can name, if you can name any. It was quite, when you're on the spot, it does take you quite hard to think, but I'm going to ask you a question. So, it was quite good. So since this is how we're going to end it off, feel free to have your guess as we play along. Don't cheat, put whatever you get in the comments up to the point that we finish it off. So Callum, since the season Brendan Rodgers first took charge of Celtic, which was 16-17, since the 2016-17 season there has been 7 players who have played for Celtic who at some point in their career have played for a Champions League or European Cup winning team. Who are the 7 players? They didn't have to be in the team when they won the Champions League, you know what I mean?
So they've just played,
but they've played for a team who has won a Champions League or a European Cup. 7 players since 2016-17. There's a couple that you will not get. I got 5 when I was listening to Super Scoreboard. 5 is all I got.
Jesus.
It is a hard one, man. It's a hard one. Especially when you're on the spot. I'll drink.
Ollie Buck.
Ollie Buck is correct. Aye, he played for Nottingham Forest, of course.
Try and Kildare teams that won it years back. Aren't as good now.
Aye. So there's one of them.
Fuck, else is
Done well there. Ollie Buck was a tough one, I think, to get. There's such a few names that I just completely forgot even played for. No, I think it was 2 or 3 that I forgot played for the actual club.
Jesus Christ, I cannot get this.
It's a tough one. There's a couple of obvious ones you should get. Whenever you feel like forfeiting, tell me. But I'm sure there's a couple that you can definitely get. I'm sure of it. I can hear everybody's watching the video as well.
I think everybody giving me hate abuse now.
He's not a Celtic man. He's lying. I'm certainly looking to get. I'm sure I remember all 7, but I was just looking to get the wee answer sheet. There we go. I've got it here.
Jesus.
I can give you clues as well if you need clues.
Alright, go.
Right. So you've got 1 out of the 7 so far. Just check the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8. It says in the tweet 7, but here's 8. It's 8 players. So you've got 1 of the 8 so far. 1 of them currently plays for us. He's played for a Champions League winning side or a European Cup winning side. Currently plays for us right now. He's the most. He was the one I got straight away. He came from them. Aye. He came from a former European Cup winning side. Oh come on! This is the easiest one. This is the one I got seconds after the question was said. Not even seconds, a milliseconds.
See, my mind's still thinking of other players. Oh fuck, what's his face? The assist against Senate.
Good, I didn't. That was one of the ones I didn't get.
Charlie Masonda.
That's correct. That's 2. He was one of the 2 I didn't get. Because they said 7 at the start, so I only got 7. Then, like when they reviewed the answers, I'm like, oh, it was actually 8. I'm like, oh, God's sake. But he was one of the 2 I didn't get for the 7. So well done. You've got Charlie Masonda and you've got Ollie Buck so far. Black Salt is the one that currently plays for us. You've got 3. Yes. Nice.
Right, fucking try.
You're doing well. I'll give you a clue. One of the players left us in the January window this year. Scored a belter of a goal at the weekend. Scott Sinclair played for Chelsea and Aston Villa.
Played for Chelsea.
So that's 2 teams. 2 teams he played for. Okay, as you got 4 now.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, another clues done there.
You need another clue, right? Okay, I'll give you one.
I can say it.
1 is now retired and a coach.
Oh, Jesus. He coaches in the UK?
He coaches in the UK, yes. Another big player. Through his career, he's played for some big teams. He coaches in the UK. He's now retired, but he did play for us from the year 2016-17 onwards. He's got a song. A very big song, like one of the biggest chants in UK football.
Oh Jesus, there's that many. Oh, Colo.
I hope that doesn't get clipped. Colo Terry, that's you on 5. So you've got 3 more to get. The next clue I'll give you is red card on a European night that probably cost us a chance of getting through. This was a player who I was buzzing to sign for Celtic. And he was rotten. Absolutely rotten.
Jeez, for that many.
I think it was one of Brendan Rodgers' last signings for the club. One of his last signings. It would have been in that January window, I'm sure. Before Rodgers left. We brought him in on loan. From a team in Germany.
Oh, fucking Jimmy Tillman.
I told you, and that's the one. Right, so you've only got 2 more to get. The next clue is he played for Nottingham Forest as well, and he featured in the 5-1 win against Rangers at Celtic Park, which was labelled the Demolition Derby. Played for Nottingham Forest and played in that 5-1 game. And one of his very few appearances for Celtic. I think he might be retired as well now. He is retired. He retired at Celtic.
Try to go through the team, man.
Try to go through the team. Where do you start in the team?
You start in goal, keeper. Doris de Vries.
Doris de Vries, right, there you go. And finally the last one, this was one I could not get. I don't even think the clues, because I don't even know what clue to give you. But put it this way, he's played for the most European Cup winning teams out of all these players. He's played for Manchester United, he's played for Porto, he's played for St Etienne, and he's played for Nottingham Forest. And then he's also played for Celtic. So he's played for 5 former European Cup winners.
He played for us in 2016.
He played for us in 2016. Apparently, I don't remember him playing in the season. It says from the 2016-17 season, right? But I don't remember him actually playing that season. If he did, it must have been in a European qualifier. Actually, now that I think about it, I think he did play in a European qualifier. Now that I think about it, because I was sitting there thinking, like, he didn't play for us. He was gone. I'll give you it because I don't think you're going to get it. Nobody that I've asked this question has got it. Sadie Yanko.
Oh Jesus!
Sadie Yanko, mind he play?
Did he play against Lincoln?
Redhams game? Aye, that's what I think. So he must have played the Redhams game, and I think that was his last game for the club. So technically, he did play the 2016-17 season. That's it. That's the 8 players. So Diego Laxalt, Scott Sinclair, Jeremy Toljan, Oliver Buck, Doris de Vries, Kolo Toure, Charlie Masonda, Sadie Yanko. It's a decent list of players. But I mean, a couple of them I just forgot completely played for the club. With Charlie Masonda, something that could have been.
Could have been just didn't get his run. De Vries was ganting, to be fair.
No, he was.
Again, I completely forgot he played for us.
And that does it. That's about it for the podcast. Got anything else you want to add before we end the show today?
Nah, that comes to mind.
Hoping to see him back soon because I want to play my. I want to be in a quiz for a change. I do like being the quiz master because I don't need to show myself up. But then again, you know me, I love a quiz. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But thank you very much, Cam. It's been a pleasure having you on again. I look forward to seeing you next week, probably. And make sure to like, subscribe, go and check out Mostro Clothing as well in the top line of the description of the show, of course, brought to you by them once again. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, all the pages, me, David and Callum and Kieran and everybody else and all the rest of it. That'll do it. Right, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.